beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. It's October 9th, Thursday. Have plenty to go through with you guys today. Some positive developments in the Gaza war. More on why Josh Hammer is a scumbag. Just keep slamming it on that one. And then Feds rooting out corruption, or are they rooting into it? A little bit of both. Going into some W's, going into some L's. It's been a good morning so far for me. Hope it has for you. Got to run in, worked out, had eaten my breakfast right now. Probably squeeze a little bit in between some of these clippy poos here and there. But it's a pleasure to be with you guys today. This should be a pretty fun one, I think. And it's funny, I actually told you guys I wasn't going to be here today. Well, I fucking lied. Obviously, it wasn't quite a lie. I had it wrong in my calendar the time me and the wife had to be at one of her doctor's appointments or whatever. So I actually completely on time, and I'll just basically be leaving like right after this. So sorry if this threw off the schedule for any of you guys. Warning you, I wasn't going to be here. You guys decided to do something else, but for the rest of you, I'm glad you're here. Everyone else, I'm sorry. Catch it on the replay. Yeah, while we wait for the rest of the class to show up, especially because, like I said, I did not prepare you guys accordingly. Let's go through some introductory, some little icebreaker type videos, a little less goofy videos today, a little bit more substantive, but they're still kind of in the I guess in the pop culture-ish realm, sort of. The first one we have is I don't know. I thought this was particularly interesting. It says this is from Megatron. It says new Argentina's economy is sinking to the point that Trump had to intervene and give them a $20 billion bailout. In the middle of all this, here's Argentinian President Javier Milei dressed in black leather, and he took the stage at a concert with the video backdrop of bombings behind him. So let's watch this. I just thought I haven't watched it entirely, so I haven't got a feel for the visuals yet, but it's kind of nuts. This was supposed to be one of the big libertarian guys, and it's funny that a lot of the libertarian world got all up in arms when Hans Hermann Hoppe was like, yo, fuck this dude. I don't know, it seems like the little bit I pay attention to the goings-ons over there, it seems Hoppe was kind of, as always, pretty goddamn right on the money. I mean, I don't necessarily agree 100% with all of Hoppe's thoughts and conclusions, but for the most part, I'm like 99.99% typically with Hoppe. And even then, I think the small, tiny bit of differentiation we really have is probably like on the margins when it comes to praxis. For the most part, I'm pretty much a Hoppian. Like, I'm a Hoppian in essence, but then like in praxis, I guess I'm more of like an agorist. But yeah, let's watch this. Let's see. I don't know. Let's what vibes we get out of this. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a fun song. I don't know what it is.
piernas son un abrigo, al menos no moriré. Si todo me sale bien.
Anyone speak Spanish? Is there anything interesting, worthwhile, or whatever it is? Portuguese? No, that's Brazil. I don't know. You guys, does any of you guys speak Spanish? Let me know if there's anything interesting in the words he's saying here. I'm not seeing the supposed bombing. Maybe it'll show up on the screen or something here in a minute. Okay, I don't know. I mean, supposedly, in the middle of this. So while this is like, I don't know, maybe not the greatest optics with everything going on. I mean, was this a thing paid for by the Argentinian, government? Because otherwise, I mean, it's kind of like if this is him showing up at a cameo at some concert, which is what I would guess if I saw this, then kind of like whatever. I'm not seeing the supposed bombs. There's a video backdrop of bombing. I don't know. I know he has been particularly pretty friendly with the old Jays over in Israel. So not a lot of people have criticized him for that. I don't know particularly where he is on like the evil that they're doing. So I don't know if it's just like an economic thing. I don't know enough about the ins and outs. I'm sure maybe some of you guys in the chat have some thoughts about it. Moving on to the next one. This one's another one of you guys shared to me. I don't really know what to make of this one quite either. There's some videos I think we'll watch after that maybe give us a little bit of an explanatory what the hell this means. But apparently Stephen Miller had like a just complete like brain fart type moment. Some people are saying that this has something to do with because he put his foot in his mouth. Some people are kind of pointing to, this might be more like a Mitch McConnell type moment. Although Stephen Miller's not old. I know, who knows? Maybe this is some sort of DID thing where they just fucking slip into their other fucking ego and just disassociate or whatever for periods of time. I don't know, but I do kind of doubt it's less of the Mitch McConnell. Maybe there's something to what he said here. So let's watch this together. I'll be interested to see what you guys think if this is of any significance. Let's watch this. Either way, it's funny to watch.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue. We'll try to fix that and get back to you after a quick break. Stay with CNN.
So yeah, that was just completely, I don't know what that was. Is that like if I stop moving, they'll think that like, oh no, the feed's cut, and if I just stand really still, then they'll cut away after a while. I don't know. But yeah, I guess the plenary, whatever authority. Let's see what this guy has to say. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't necessarily look like a legal expert, but let's see what this guy thinks. It was one that it's a top comment, so who knows? Let's see.
Wow, Stephen Miller absolutely did not have a glitch on live TV. Okay, he had an oh shit moment where he said something that he fucking was not supposed to say. Check this out, and then I will explain after.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue.
Anyways, yes, so you can see, clearly not a glitch. You can see Stephen Miller's body move, and you can still see him blinking. Let's talk about what he said right before he froze, okay? He said plenary authority. It sounds like he was tripping on his words right before he glitched, but he was not. That's an actual thing, okay? I'm gonna tell you what it means right now. Plenary authority is the full, complete, and absolute power to act on a specific matter without any limitation. With him acknowledging Project 2025 and deploying the National Guard to all these cities, he said the quiet part out loud.
I will say that, okay, well, I have been pretty critical, like really critical of the Trump administration. I guess I don't know where this guy is coming from, this fourth musketeer. I will say the Project 2025 shit, maybe I haven't dug enough into it, but that did seem like, I guess, kind of almost like, liberal slop, almost like a red herring. Like I haven't seen anything that I was like, oh my God, with Project 2025, and anything that kind of distanced himself. Once again, not something I've dived too deep into. So just I guess, I don't know. I just thrown that out, but let's go and keep playing.
And then was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. I don't think I was supposed to say that. A lot of you guys don't seem to grasp the reality of the situation. Anyways, that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day and you are all safe and happy.
All right, well, it sounds like the implication is it's some sort of, I don't know, hyper-specific legal term referring to complete and utter authority. For example, here is someone got a screenshot of it here right now. So plenary authority is a legal term for a complete and absolute power to act on a particular issue with no limitations. When the term is applied to a public official or government body, the more common phrase is plenary power. Plenary authority in U.S. law. In the United States, plenary authority gives a body full power to act without needing further approval within a defined subject area, but it does not equate to unchecked or dictatorial power. Okay. Constitutional checks and balances ensure that even plenary powers must respect fundamental rights and cannot override the Constitution itself. Okay, well then now this is sounding less like a big deal and now more like a maybe his like ear thing cut out or something. Because this sounds, it seemed kind of like a nothing burger when everyone's freaking out plenary authority. Once again, I never went to law school, so... But it sounds like it even says, even with this, there's a carve-out that, like, with the exception of certain checks and balances. So I don't know. I mean, is that a big deal? You guys tell me. So plenary power is most prominent in three areas of U.S. constitutional law. It only shows two in this thing, but it says immigration, Native American affairs. Now, what were we talking about again in this? What was the specific... what was the specific issue? National Guard deployment. So, okay, so they're claiming plenary authority in regards to deploying the National Guard. Okay, well, now that Will is, like, I guess specifically in regards to that, I could see how that would be more like, oh, shit, to claim you have plenary authority here would be kind of like, I don't know if that's necessarily something I want the government to perceive its power on this level. Especially because I think when we started out, I'm by no means a constitutional scholar, but it was my understanding when this whole rollout of like National Guard, different cities started out, it was started with D.C. and the argument is like, well, technically the president's the mayor, I think, of D.C. since it's like a separate state essentially, and he has different powers over that per the Constitution. So essentially he was able to do that, but then from there we kind of got this weird. Now people almost accepted it, sort of, and then they started doing elsewhere. But it was my understanding that was basically unconstitutional to do. So it's like kind of a gray area, is my understanding. So now they're claiming that they're in a position where they have plenary authority to do this. I guess that could be significant, but it sounds like it doesn't necessarily mean like complete and utter, like they said, dictatorial power. So I don't know. That's funny. Someone showed a picture of a rectal polyp and Stephen Miller next to each other. The likeness is uncanny. All right, let's go check out. Last clip we'll play before we go into the foreign policy stuff, of which we do have seemingly some positive news. Although, be careful, don't get too optimistic. But let's watch Dave DeCamp and Matt Gaetz on IRL. Actually, I don't think Dave really appears in this clip at all. This is something from Matt Gaetz, but I guess Tim took a day off. Someone was telling me online that I guess he went to go do the Fighter and the Kid or some shit. So yeah, I guess that's probably why he wasn't there. So we got Matt Gaetz to host for him. I think they had somebody from like the National Conservative who was actually pretty good on a lot of these issues, like Gaza and like Israel kind of. And then Gaetz is kind of, I don't know, he's pretty good on Israel stuff lately. I think they had the Eliyahu guy, the neocon, and they also had Phil there. I haven't watched it. I'll be honest, I probably don't intend on ever watching it. But either way, I just want to acknowledge it, and just that's kind of cool, I guess. While I have shit on them a lot. Like, hey, I guess it's almost like the Kirk thing, where it was like he was at a point where it was like, you kind of got to get with the program, dog. And it seems like Tim Pool might be making that shift, or maybe I'm reading too much into it. I haven't been watching the show at all. It's just been complete slop, in my opinion, pretty much from its inception, but even egregiously slop in in the last year or so. So I've completely checked out. But hey, if it's going to be slop that's anti-Israel, hey, I'll give you my seal of approval. But let's see what Gaetz had to say, particularly about AIPAC. This went pretty viral. I thought this was interesting. Let's watch this.
Initially, I resented the fact that there was no appreciation for nuance. Like if you asked any questions about any decision of the Israeli government in any place regarding settlements, regarding Gaza, whatever, you were like, you had deviated from the script. And I just, in any policy area, I had resentment over that. And then I saw the way the AIPAC worked, and that was weird for a country lawyer like me. I remember my first AIPAC reception, and your fundraiser tells you have to go, and your chief of staff tells you have to go, your committee chairman will tell you have to go, and you get there and you wear this name badge, and I remember there's a QR code on it. And what we were supposed to do was go talk to donors, and then if they liked you, they scanned your QR code to make a donation, on the spot. And so can you just imagine how demoralizing that is to be told that your job for the next several hours to go chat people up, hoping they would scan you like a can of tomato soup on the way out of the meeting.
I mean, it's literally purchasing.
Right. And so I saw that and I was like, wow, that is so freaking weird. And then, I was in Israel. I went multiple times, and I did not like the fact that I found someone in my room rooting around in my stuff that should not have been there at the King David Hotel when I came back to my room when no one was expecting me to be back in my room. And I just
presumably Israeli law enforcement.
I don't know who it was. I just thought, this is weird. All of these things combined are odd, and then the policy outgrowth seems to be an obsession about the Middle East that has not served my generation well. I just don't.
All right, particularly interesting clip. They're just scanning them like fucking grocery items. This is where we're at. I will say AIPAC, I think, did deny it, but I don't even really care to go into that rabbit hole. And there were all sorts of people in the comments immediately rebutting that. But either way, let's say our good mornings, roll through the chat, say what's up to all the people, and then we'll get into foreign policy, which has been so significant. It's become a main topic today. Gaza war over because. Question mark, of course, because let's be real, probably not. We'll get into that. Good morning, Boomslayer. Good morning, Gerald Hall. Right off the jump had people waiting and a bunch of likes, but a good deal before the show even started. So hell yeah, appreciate it. Good morning, comment mama. Good morning, Tony Chin. Make sure to hit that like button, people. Good morning, Shannon Jones. Good morning, comment mama. Says hope you're all doing well and your taxes are low. I do wish that for all of you. Good morning, Mr. Chadhead B. Good morning. Good morning, Marnamac. She says, I got the notification on X, but not on Rumble. Just a reminder for those who do like X, the show does play on X, although I don't know who the hell watches podcasts on X, but every now and then one of you guys show up in the chat. Good morning, Tom33 says, I turn all notifications off because no app only gives me the ones I want, so I just raw dog and hope I remember the streams. Living life on the edge, Tom33. Good morning, Uncle Ted says, Nicholas Gage. I don't know what that was, but I'll say it for you. Good morning, King David. He says, whenever the intro song comes on, I dance like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. I do too. Good morning, Jake Moore. Good morning. Yeah, someone says I thought we were going early today. Yeah, I lied. My bad. Uncle Ted says we know it's not a job you have to go to. I mean, I've told you it. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. If you guys want to keep fed-jacking me, I don't care. It's fun. Good morning, No Name. Good morning, John Black. It says Josh Gallison's greater than Josh Hammer. Yep, the battle of the Joshes. The fake Mexican. He's just as much a separate race as I am. I don't know. It's like, do we consider Jays a separate race? I don't. I think that's nonsense. Good morning, bug fights. Good morning, Bobo Mikua. Good morning. Good morning. Who else we got? Good morning, Daniel Boone. Good morning. Bug fight says Kappa's kind of a crybaby, but I agree with him as well. Gerald says, I speak Spanish, but Argentinian is notoriously hard to understand. Okay. And my speakers are blown, so, okay. What else we got? Good morning, everybody. Rolling through the chat, seeing if we got any new people. Bobby Ballbags, good morning. Don't mess with the Giga Jew, he says. John Black says, Stephen Miller said the quiet part out loud and then just shut the fuck up and pretend they lost connection. Yeah, I mean, I know it does sound like perhaps he did. I don't know. It sounds like maybe a hyper-specific legal thing in the specific situation. I mean, the more I think about it, it's like, yeah, I guess you wouldn't want to say you had plenary authority now that I understand a little bit more what that means. Although I don't know if it's necessarily as extravagant as everyone's acting. I don't know. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good to see you in the chat as always. Good morning, everybody. Scrolling. Seeing if we miss anybody. Got a bunch of good mornings in here today. Jose does have gray hair, comment Mama says. I always do like it. My hair does look nice today. It's coming together well, I think. I have been clipping around my ears occasionally. I know you guys complain I look shaggy. So hey, but now I am getting like the pretty sickle Seventh Heaven look, and I'm here for it. Good morning, yeah, that's a good way to get me off topic, is tell me how cute I am. John Black says Austin has plenary authority over water being a human right. Yes, I am his check and balance. I am his constitution saying no, property rights, baby. Good morning, everybody. Let me see. Towers are getting ridiculous, says Nevsky. Hey, keep towering away. Bump that algo. I don't fucking care. I'm sure the people in the chat hate it, but whatever. It's a great algo bump. So Tom33 says Tim Pool's been Israeli slop almost every time I've watched. Yeah, so if you want to throw Matt Gaetz and like a based conservative against Israel and then Dave DeCamp and have them face off against Eliyahu Homo you or whatever the fuck and then little Labonte, then go for it. I'm here for it. So, let me see what else we got. Good morning, mass genocide. Jenna, clever play on words. Good morning, Che Coho. Good morning. We're almost to the bottom of this chat. Almost said, I think, our highs to everybody. Want to make sure no one feels left out. Oh, Jenna says I look cute too. They appreciate you. Oh, Bobo, he said, you're so beautiful. Oh, God, guys. Hit that like button if you think I'm so cute, people. Also, if you think I'm ugly, hit the like button. Andrew says, allegedly, Israel struck again this morning. Yes, I know. Gerald Hall says, water is the essence of moisture, and moisture is the essence of life. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into some foreign policy stuff. Hey, what's up, Jorge Glockington? Just see you there. Good morning. Just saw you. Just noticed I missed that name. All right, let's get into foreign policy. Last night, what was this? Around 7 p.m., a little before 7. We got this is from Dave DeCamp saying Trump announces Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of a ceasefire deal. And so here is a truth or whatever from Trump. It says, I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America, and we thank the mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. He didn't do his new little, thanks for your attention to this matter, so that's interesting. I don't know if that necessarily means anything, but I was kind of expecting it there at the end. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into kind of talk a little bit more about this. Dave DeCamp wrote a piece about this over at antiwar.com. So now we're going to cover that together. So President Trump has announced that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of a Gaza ceasefire deal. I'm not going to reread the quotes, yada, 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 yada. Drop Site News reported earlier that Hamas and other Palestinian factions had agreed to a framework for a Gaza ceasefire deal. Before this announcement, President Trump said that a deal was very close and that he could be traveling to the region this weekend. According to the Drop Site report, Hamas agreed to a deal that will involve Israeli troops remaining in Gaza after they release all of the Israeli captives. Hamas was initially opposed to a deal that didn't include a full Israeli withdrawal along with the release of the hostages. A source told Drop Site that Hamas was now trusting President Trump to guarantee that Israel won't restart its genocidal war. Trusting Trump's word is the gamble they are taking. If it works, they will be considered geniuses. If it fails, they will be considered fools. It's as simple as that, the source says. So to put that simply, as I've been telling you guys throughout this, is as they were, the initial plan kind of proposed, and I think they were kind of like hesitant about it. Yes, this plan does essentially call for Hamas to give up essentially all of their leverage. And the only leverage, what only leverage they would have at that point would be that Trump would not want to look like a scumbag. That's about it. So, kind of is what it is. So, not great. So, while it is like, at the end of the day, it is positive, I think, in a sense, because I think, I'm so torn on it. It's obviously not good in certain sense, but if we can just stop the death, that'd be cool for now, which is kind of what we're looking at. Israel previously broke a Gaza ceasefire deal that was signed in January and has constantly violated a Lebanon ceasefire deal that it signed in November 2024. After Trump's announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he will convene his government on Thursday to approve the agreement and bring all our dear hostages home. So while we do have good news right now, it is currently Thursday. It is very early. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more news today, fiddling around the margins, positively, negatively. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be more to talk about this tomorrow. Al Jazeera reported that Israeli airstrikes hit Gaza City as Palestinians were celebrating Trump's ceasefire announcement. Since President Trump called on Israel to immediately stop the bombing in Gaza on October 3rd, Israel has killed more than 100 Palestinians in Gaza. Israeli attacks have been less intense over the past 2 days, but they haven't stopped. Nor, as I mentioned, I think yesterday, I do think it's significant, and I do think they should be called upon to have some sort of verbal agreement to that, at least. I know they're working on a ceasefire, but even if it was just a public, yes, Donald, I mean, you can cloak it in diplomatic, language or whatever, but essentially a recognition of the request to stop bombing and essentially an acknowledgement of, in the effort of good faith or however you want to frame it, we're going to stop the attacks. You could probably even frame it in like aside from self-defense or whatever. You can find a way to frame it to where, because let's be real, they're still getting Israel to stop murdering their neighbors. It's like an impossible task. So they're still going to murder some motherfuckers. But if they could at least get on record saying, hey, we're not going to murder, then now we could at least get the murders down. Because at least if you have them on record saying, okay, we won't murder, then when we're later, we're like, hey, you're murdering. They'll be like, yeah, you're right. I said I wasn't going to murder. like that kind of thing. Whereas if you don't get them to say it, then they'll be like, you never said I couldn't murder. So, yeah, or I never agreed to it or whatever. And you can't give them a fucking inch, essentially. So it would have been nice if they said something. But it looks generally positive, I'd say. As I've said, too, I mean, this kind of goes both ways. The flip side of this is clearly probably some sort of technocratic capitalist money grab. And when I say capitalist, I mean it in the most parody type of way that the original socialists meant it, literally state capitalists, the worst kind that you can think of. This is just this isn't an actual market transaction. There is no profit loss, incentives in place. It's just pure hard power. Fucking, this is the deal. You're going to fucking pay this X, Y, and Z, or you guys fucking die, is basic. But it's being obviously seeded in different ways. Like, oh, here's this Gaza peace plan. But, I mean, to a certain extent, this is the path to reduce the murder at this given point in time. So, bummer, but a positive. So, all right, let's see what Trump has to say about this. He spoke about this super late last night on Fox News, so let's see how he's talking about this right now. I think it's particularly important. Let's check it out.
So good for Israel. I spoke to Bibi Netanyahu just a little while ago. He called. He said, I can't believe it. He said, everybody's liking me now. Meaning him. He said, I said, more importantly, they're loving Israel again. And they really are. I said, Israel cannot fight the world, Bibi. They can't fight the world. And he understands that very well. So it's amazing the way it's all come together. And it's a beautiful picture. I don't know if it could ever happen again. It was just a set of circumstances. Like, for instance, taking out the potential nuclear power of Iran. So many different things happened that were so amazing. It's a lot of talent involved, I'll tell you, but there was a certain degree of luck too. You need luck also.
Okay, I think I like this particularly. I like the framing of it. He's saying it like, for one, I don't necessarily even believe that Netanyahu ever said this shit. Trump has I think he just says shit. Which frankly I find pretty endearing and hilarious. That he just says shit. Like, I do not believe for a moment that Bibi, especially after covering Trump and the statements that he said to people, this and that, many, it is clearly he just makes up reality as he goes so often, it seems. So I don't believe for a single moment that Bibi actually ever said even a close approximation to these words. I think Trump's just saying it. He's just trying to put some spin on it, to which I like to spin. Whatever. If you want to frame it as like, oh, Bibi's telling me behind the scenes, oh, everybody's liking me. Well, okay, I don't believe he said that, but okay, now it's on you, Bibi, to call Trump a liar and also be like, oh, no. I want to murder more, and like, no, I'm not getting positive acknowledgement for reducing murder. Or like, so he's framing in a way where, like, while it probably is a lie, I would assume, just judging by his track record, it's kind of one of those lies that, like, if it feeds towards his ego. So you would almost be like, it gives him more of an out. Now, is it enough? I don't know. There's a lot of political movements going on over there with Smotrich, Ben Gvir, like the Hawks over there are very seemingly upset about all this. So I don't know if sucking up to Bibi is really going to be enough. But and then also I do like little stuff like that. Hey, Israel can't fight the world. Kind of like putting it in a perspective that, like, hey man, like, so I don't know. There legitimately could be a situation going on now with world politics where, like, I think there's deep dark stuff going on behind the scenes, but the reality of the situation might just be so towards just like, this is just not continuable. You just can't keep going down this road. There's probably just too many actors that have turned against them behind the scenes that they don't have enough leverage to really be able to meaningfully make a difference. Like, I don't know. I mean, how far can you really get with having, I don't know, the president probably on tape fucking kids or something? I think, I mean, unless you got a whole bunch, unless you have, like, I guess, like a, what's the word? Like there's a certain, like, a mass, like, where it's a amount where it's like unstoppable. Once you get to like an unstoppable mass of like world leaders and stuff. But I don't know, I think enough people have gone hip to their bullshit. Enough foreign nations got sick of being downtrodden upon. They've probably just gone hip to their bullshit. Be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to the island. No, I'm not doing this. No, I'm going to be keeping a skeptical eye on my other colleagues that would be willing to do such a thing. And I don't know, maybe the gig is just up. I have no idea. We'll never really get probably the proper like what's going on behind the scenes. But I don't know. I will say the words that are coming out of these people's mouths right now, I like it. Particularly, I think it's positive. I got to be somewhat optimistic here. But as a voice of caution, here is a friend of the show, Mel, saying Israel conducted 3 days of bombing on Gaza in the week before October 7th. You know, that time they say there was a ceasefire in place. There is no such thing as a ceasefire when dealing with ethno-supremacists. They can always find a reason for why they must preemptively attack. And here she's quote tweeting, as one of you guys in the chat mentioned earlier, the ongoing attacks, which they've been doing throughout. But live on camera, here's Israeli tanks bombing Gazan civilians, right around the time of the announcement of the ceasefire. Moving on, so let's watch this.
منطقة ود نعم الآن على ما يبدو قذيفة نعم قذيفة الآن على الهواء مباشرة.
نرجو أن تتوقوا الحذر ونذكر بأن المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي
هذه قذيفة مباشرة من الآلية الإسرائيلية.
نذكر أشرف بأن المكتب الإعلامي الحكومي طلب من المواطنين عدم التوجه نحو شارعي أو من خلال شارعي الرشيد وصلاح الدين نحو مدينة غزة.
إيش اللي بيصير؟ نعم نحن أمام تطورات حقيقة خطيرة والقذائف تسقط بشكل مباشر من الآليات الإسرائيلية
All right, well, I mean, if we could look through chat, see if there's anybody gives any sort of reasoning. Not seeing any yet. Someone points out, like, I think they're just firing at that one building. Well, yeah, they probably actually were firing at that building. Like, yeah, they may not have actually been firing at people, which I guess that kind of perfectly goes into my next point. Kind of, regardless of whether they're shooting at people or not, even if they're destroying buildings, it's like, well, hey, fucking cut that shit out. We're supposedly, the current peace deal theoretically is supposed to be they're setting up this new state for the Palestinians, right? So wouldn't you maybe think perhaps we should stop fucking destroying their infrastructure? That'd be great. So whether you're destroying lives or buildings, which, I don't know, let's be real, to some extent, that was part of someone's life. So you are destroying lives, just not directly a person. Israel has damaged or destroyed 83% of all the buildings in Gaza City right now. So yeah, that's actually not crazy that they were just firing tank rounds of the building just to get their last bits of destruction in. That way they can force out the last little vestiges out of the area. Because that's the game. Get these fuckers out of here. And then maybe they've just settled with a smaller, more concentrated population under technocratic rule. Essentially the creepy Gaza that we had before, but like squared. Because we had these like however many square miles or whatever, small area, kind of perfectly bordered by like the dome and all sorts of high-tech weaponry and all this creepy whatever the fuck and, creepy fucking surveillance by the powers that be. Well, now we're probably going to get that, but like times 10. Probably far more concentrated area. Things are going to be far more digitized. It's going to be creepy. Creepy stuff probably. But if we can stop the murder, that'd be cool. And then while this is all going on, we got Ben Gvir leading 1,300 Israelis in an Al-Aqsa mosque incursion, which a lot of people are apt to bring up. I believe there was some sort of action taken against the Al-Aqsa Mosque like shortly before October 7th that kind of got a lot of people all worked up. I believe Al-Aqsa is also one of the ones that's like big part of the whole prophecy nonsense. So yeah, big deal shit. So Ben Gvir led hundreds of ultra-nationalists in a raid on Al-Aqsa mosques on Wednesday, the second day of the Jewish holiday of Sukkot. Under the protection of heavily armed forces, the Minister of National Security took part in religious rituals alongside many others. The raid, along with the performance of prayers in the mosque courtyards, violates the long-standing status quo. This set of rules, recognized internationally and upheld by world powers, designates Al-Aqsa mosques as an exclusively Islamic site where only Muslims are permitted to worship. In a post on his X account, Ben Gvir claimed that Israelis are winning on the Temple Mount, the Jewish term for the raised plateau on which Al-Aqsa Mosque stands. We are the owners of the house of the Temple Mount. I only pray that our Prime Minister will allow a full victory in Gaza as well, to destroy Hamas, God willing, to return the hostages, and we will achieve an absolute victory, he added. According to the Islamic Waqf Department in Jerusalem, approximately 1,300 settlers stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque on Wednesday, following the incursion of another 500 settlers on Tuesday. During the incursion, Israeli police removed Palestinian worshippers from the complex. Strict security measures were also imposed around the mosque and its gates, with large reinforcements of police and security forces deployed to secure the settlers' entry. So this is quite a bit of agitation going on in the region. I really don't think they want this shit going through. Also, I think they're looking for any reason to initiate more aggression in the West Bank as well, which is where this is at. We also got a report, Trump's administration working on strategy to eliminate Venezuela's Maduro. So this is one of those sources say sort of stories. The report focused on, so this is according to a report from Politico's National Security Daily, actually. So this is a report from Politico. My bad. I was thinking it was like some sort of administration one. So the report focused on U.S. Special Envoy Rick Grenell, who was recently instructed to halt his diplomatic efforts with the Venezuelan government. Sources told National Security Daily that they didn't think the move meant Grenell was on the outs, but rather the U.S. was now focused on escalating its efforts to oust Maduro. The president is serious. No more mixed messages. No more excuses. So this is a sources say story at its root. A person familiar with the Trump administration's thinking told National Security Daily, there is now a coherent whole-of-government strategy to eliminate Cartel de las Soles and its leader, which we've talked about on the show. Cartel de las Soles is just what they're referring to as the Venezuelan government. They're referring to them as drug traffickers, and they're not recognizing them as the official government because of that weird election nonsense, which I think, if I remember correctly, that was the one that, like, right after Elon Musk was, like, tweeting hard as fuck about it, and, like, it seemed super artificial, whereas most people were like, why the fuck would I give a shit about Venezuelans' government? And if anything, actually, people were like, no, the election looked pretty much on the up and up, and it seems like you guys are just running with this election interference narrative, kind of leveraging, kind of current national politics that were going on to try to make this a believable thing going on elsewhere, to essentially just kind of, generate some sort of support or perception of support for this, what they wanted back in 2016, a Venezuelan regime change. They've clearly wanted this for a while, it seems. So, yeah, but there is a pretty interesting. I would expect more of this trick going forward. I don't think I've seen it used in such a way, although it's kind of predictable. They've referred to the Cartel de Soles and kind of reference how their thoughts about them being connected and essentially how Maduro runs this and stuff before. But I don't think I've seen them do it in this way, where they don't even refer to it as Maduro or Venezuela, but now they're just kind of swapping the terms out. Because that's a fun little trick, because now you can just, like, in public press refer to as Cartel de las Soles, and now it sounds like you're talking about some sort of international drug trafficking ring, which I guess to some extent is probably true. To some extent, that's, like, I guess what every government probably is involved in and does to some degree. So, sure, to some degree, although it's a little bit different because that is the government there. So I don't know. It's just, man, we're just such bizarro territory. It's just so funny how the government just kind of willy-nilly, is like, for example, the argument of, like, terrorism. What is terrorism? Well, it's violence towards political ends. Okay, so, like, anything the government does ever? Yeah. But it's like technically there is kind of like something interesting here, and, like, technically, well, like, the whole Cartel de las Soles is silly, but, like, technically, yeah, that is a drug trafficking organization, but, like, so is every other one, especially the United States government. But I don't know, it's just silly. It's just how they kind of, like, are able to accept certain governments as legitimate or not. And, like, this is how they're like, oh, well, that's not a government there, so it's okay to just do all this shit. I don't know, it's just such a bizarre line of thinking. So, yeah, that kind of, the rest of the article kind of goes into more of what I just was riffing off there, so we don't need to go more into that. They also haven't provided any evidence that they targeted the boats. Apparently what they've been sending them, I think, over is just literally, when they've been asking for the evidence, is the videos that they showed the people, which were just a grainy overhead, drone video, and boom, gone. Proves nothing. So, yeah, the Trump administration is yet to provide underlying evidence to lawmakers proving that alleged drug smuggling boats targeted by the U.S. Were, in fact, carrying narcotics, according to 2 U.S. officials familiar with the matter. So, yeah, apparently they did try to push forward some sort of war powers resolution for this. It got voted down, unsurprising. They've carried out at least 4 strikes on boats, 21 people killed. So, yeah, they've still not provided any sort of evidence behind the scenes that any of this is legit. It does make you really question, where does this go legally? Right now, so far as legislatively, it's not... the current setup is like, they'll actually probably be able to get away with it. Any sort of, like, move like those war power acts, I don't see that going anywhere right now. But All right. Yeah, and so Trump administration points to videos as proof. So asked about the lack of underlying evidence provided Congress, the Pentagon on Wednesday pointed to videos of the strikes which do not confirm the presence of drugs. Yeah. The Pentagon also noted public statements by Hegseth, including a social media post following the latest failed strike, in which he said, our intelligence, without a doubt, okay, guys, we're good. Hegseth said, without a doubt, confirmed this vessel was trafficking narcotics. The people on board were narco-terrorists, and they were operating on a known narco-trafficking transit route. All right, and then last one in this foreign policy stuff, and then I'll check back in the chat, and we'll get into the main topics. It says, Russia says momentum toward Ukraine peace deal has been largely exhausted. Sergei Ryabkov, the Russian deputy foreign minister, on Wednesday said that the momentum toward a peace deal in Ukraine following the August 15th summit between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has been largely exhausted, as the two sides remain very far apart on the conditions to end the war. Unfortunately, it must be acknowledged the powerful impetus of Anchorage in favor of agreements has been largely exhausted by the efforts of opponents and the efforts of supporters of the war to the last Ukrainian among Europeans, Ryabkov said. This is a result of destructive activity primarily by Europeans, which we speak about openly and directly. So yeah, I mean, we've been saying it for a while. It's not looking great. And there's more on the Tomahawk side of things, which you've been commenting on. Maria Zakharova, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, warned against these recently. The corresponding decision by the U.S. administration, if made, will not just send the confrontation into a downward spiral, but also do irreparable damage to Russian-U.S. relations, which have just begun to display certain elements indicating the resumption of a bilateral dialogue, she said. So yeah, I mean, more political talk of like, hey, how about like don't give Ukraine, long-range missiles that also can be outfitted with nukes? Because yeah, that would be really fucking bad because we're both nuclear powers. And this isn't a crazy level of aggression. All right, let's roll through the chat, check in with you all. Man, almost got about 60 of y'all right now, pretty early in the show. Let's see if we can bump those numbers up. I want to get about 100 up in this bitch on the reg or more. Let's do it. Hit the like button. Like, please. That's how you let people know the show doesn't suck balls, even if it does. Which I think it's all right. I like it. It is what it is. This is a dump show, though. We're just dumping information, just stuff that from the day prior. We're going through together. We're shooting the shit. Don't you overthink it. Good morning, mass genocide. I already said good morning to you, though. It said Phil used to be cool until he showed his IQ when he jumped on James Lindsay's dick. Yeah, anyone going, oh, James Lindsay, you're so fucking smart. Like, come on, dude. Tao Rose, good morning. I think it's the first I've seen you in here. Says, in my opinion, Tim Pool might be the worst thing on the internet, not even mid-wit tier. Yeah. Comment Mama said there were less than 20 likes. It was about 30 minutes ago, but bump that shit up. Good morning. Good morning, Eris Legacy. Good morning. Let me see what else we got in here. Rolling through the chat. Man, a lot of tower. You guys are towering away. Good morning, Mulgera. Good morning. Yeah, stop. I will say though, Bobo, this is getting out of hand. I know I said these are algo boosts, but to have some respect for the process, please. Gerald, Bobo, you guys are just getting carried away. You guys are just letter after another. I don't know if no one ever told you the proper etiquette for towers, but I drop the N, you drop the I, another separate person drops the G, so on and so forth, and then that's how we spell Nigeria. That's how you do it. Separate person. That's how you display the impressiveness of it, because it's like, oh my god, you're like just spelling out a word's not impressive, but if you're able to get, say you have an eight character word and you can get 8 separate people to do it, and you're displaying that, that's impressive. That's like you got that many people to coordinate a message. If it's just you, you're just a weirdo talking to yourself. So cut it out, guys. Have some respect for the process. It probably is an algo boost, so this does go against me. But have some self-respect, please. Please. Good morning. Yeah, exactly. Gerald Hall, guys, supposed to be a group effort. Uncle Ted's doing it now, guys. Just rule breakers. Just rule breakers up in here. All right, let me scroll through. Neck strong. Don't forget that to skip. Don't skip neck day, people. Work out that neck. Everyone's commenting about the towers. We have the best towers, the greatest towers. All right, what else we got in here? All right, we're still like 20 minutes back in the chat. Hit the like button if you think Jose has too much water, says Bobo. I actually really low on water today. I usually have another, but I have a whole other cup of something else here. Look at some milk with me, so we're good. Mulgara says, I'm praying for peace. This genocide needs to come to an end. It's horrific. I 100% agree. Comment Mama says, we want proof of life for Jeff. I feel like I just saw him. Where are you, you fat fuck? I think he's on the couch, but I think he's like where I can't see him right now. Okay. Well, what else we got? Jose, read the chat. We want to see Jeff. I'm sorry, he's a fat ass. If he's laying around, he's either laying around or screaming, and that's about all. So most of the time he's sleeping. So don't know what to tell you. He's not out and about right now. Tom33 says, I love Trump making shit up as he goes because that's what they all do. He's just more transparent about it. Exactly. I agree with that. I do think a lot of them, they've been doing it for a long time. It was actually funny. I don't think it was so bad this last time Biden ran, but the first time Biden ran back in 2020. Yeah, back in 20. Well, obviously that was his first time. He had other presidential runs, but recently, that recent run where he made it, I remember on the campaign trail, he had a whole bunch of times where he got caught just making up obviously bullshit stories. And it was just kind of the perfect time, I think, in media where like also, and then you combine that Biden's a little bit of a dinosaur. So it was kind of fun because you were kind of looking, you were like in the looking glass of time, looking back of how they used to operate. And Biden just hadn't got with the program quite yet. So yeah, that is definitely, they do it. They did it far more flagrantly in the past. I think they do it less so now because they can't get away with it as well. So yeah. Let me see. Good morning, Mikey Chim says, what up? What's up, my top nig, Bob Jose? Good morning. Good morning. Everyone's saying love you in the chat. Ween Baby says, I don't believe anything BB or Trump says, as you shouldn't. 59 peeps and only 21 likes. Yes, hit the like button, people. Help out a brother out. Jose blissfully unaware of the factory in the chat, says Gerald. I sure am. All right, I'm going to hyper scroll through the chat. You guys are talking a lot. Good morning, none of your business. Late to the party. You are a little bit late, but we're past foreign policy, so not too bad. Ween Baby says they destroyed enough for Trump to build his golf course. They sure did. We could monetize Jeff by keeping him a hostage. When enough people donate, you could show him. Yeah, I could do what Hassan got busted for recently. Just keep Jeff like in a perfect, like keep him right here, but like trying to show like right here, like where you can see the screen. Like probably put like a bed right on the floor here and just like have a little zap collar. The only problem is that would never work with a cat. Like you could put a zap collar on a cat to try to get it to obey you to stay in place. Would never ever work. You're just gonna have a cat spazzing out all over the fucking house. So if that could work, I'd probably do it. I can see where Hassan's coming from. It is a nice little visual thing. You know, you guys go, oh, there's your dog, there's your cat, how cute. Yeah. Good morning. What else? I think we're getting near the end of this chat. Pose probably has him on a treadmill exercising the archons. Yeah. All right. Let's keep moving. Nevsky says Cartel de la Sol is not what they call themselves, but the U.S. named it because of the exclusive sun patches that some generals wear is what I read. That's interesting. If that's the case, if it really is just because that like some of their generals wear sun patches as part of their official regalia, that is funny. If they're just like, well, they have sun, so Cartel of the Sun, we got it. That would make sense. That totally checks out, I think. Did I see Dave Smith's latest video with Nick Fuentes? Says Mogera. It was pretty damn good. I'm not a huge fan of Nick or anything, but it was a good conversation. Yeah, I'm working through it right now. I'm probably like over halfway through it. I mean, it was like 3.5 hours long. But it's a pretty good conversation. I haven't finished it yet. I do find it funny. I've seen some clips of Nick, and I don't know. I mean, especially some of the new group chat stuff that came out from the candidates. It's funny seeing the tone shifts of some people of like, oh, well, maybe you guys aren't so retarded and ridiculous for having suspicions about Israel after Charlie Kirk gets fucking exploded on TV. Maybe we aren't so fucking tarded, huh? So, I don't know. It's just funny. But it's good to see them coming around. So, good morning, Eric Petty. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Andrew says that Samson option scenario is looking pretty likely lately after Netanyahu says Iran is going to bomb the main cities in that document. What do you think? I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I've been a thought that's crossed my mind lately. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, obviously, I don't know that Israel fucking exploded Charlie Kirk's carotid artery live on stream. But let's be real. That's where the current game is so far as the Zionists. Part of why I guess also I've been a little bit more like open to the idea than maybe some people were skeptical towards the idea is because that's kind of exactly what one would expect at this point in time, as everyone's trying to escape this ship like rats knowing it's going down, like just trying to get off. That they're going to, like, as some of their major influencers or maybe even some minor influences, as I've been apt to bring out and we'll get into, you look at like Josh Hammer and like look at like my reach compared to his, and it's like, how the fuck is he the editor of Newsweek? So it's like there are certain things, whether it be overt threats of violence, blackmail, impropriety, like all sorts of things, money, that become like, oh, it's obviously not genuine interest, right? So point being is like in the influence game, the genuine interest has like decayed or evaporated to such an insane degree that they have to utilize other tools. And I don't know, I mean, you only got so many people on camera, fucking kids, or willing to take money. And while I have been someone who was shit on Charlie Kirk a lot, part of why I think I shit on him so much is because he did seem like someone who had a soul and a conscience. And I don't know, maybe it seemed like some of the things he was doing and saying seemed to be wearing on him. And it was getting, and I think it seemed like it was getting a little bit to his conscience, or at least to his wallet. And so the wallet side of things and his conscience were chipping away. So I don't know. Charlie always struck me as like probably a generally pretty good guy. Probably didn't have him on camera doing anything awful. He did strike me as someone who probably had a pretty blackmail-free life. So what options are you left with? So, I mean, point being is, so far as where they are in the influencer game, I wouldn't be surprised if within like a month or two we see something else along those lines. Obviously, I feel bad saying because almost like you're wishing into existence or manifesting into existence. I just think that's... But there are also these Samson options so far as nukes. Not that crazy. I just struggle to believe we're quite there yet. But more influencers getting popped, wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know, nukes... Maybe threats of nukes, maybe. But actually nuking, I don't know. All right, let's keep going through chat. We're almost caught up. Johnny Leash just shot your cat midstream like a real gangster. That would be pretty funny. Just to like put a shot collar of my cat, because it'd be the exact opposite. It'd be like a bizarro version of what Hassan does, because he was zapping him, and his dog would like then stay there. And I didn't watch the clip. I guess they said it screamed. So I guess he'd been doing this and people just didn't even realize it. But like, you wouldn't be able to zap the shit out of a cat and then be like, do it subtly. So it would be more funny. It'd be the inverse of that, where I go, just jumps all over the screen. That would be how that would play out. And it would be pretty hilarious, although incredibly cruel. And I actually like Jeff, so I wouldn't do that to him. All right. Good morning, Fat Cats. Good morning. Nevsky says many Venezuelan generals have been convicted of drug trafficking in the U.S. That's interesting. I don't doubt it at all. At all. I believe that's probably the case. I wouldn't be surprised if our own generals do that some places or have some hand in there. So $7,000 has been deposited at Jose's account. I don't know what I said about Israel just a minute ago. That was good, but I'll take it. Oh, because I said they're not quite at nukes yet. Okay, yeah, I got the call. Yeah, all right, let's keep going. What is we got? Morgera says Josh Hammer doesn't deserve such a cool last name. That's actually a good point. That is a pretty dope name. Like, Josh Hammer should be a fucking cool guy. Like, you'd think that'd be like what like Chris Hemsworth. Like somebody like Josh Hammer would look like a Chris Hemsworth. Like, you feel like which one's the correct one? I guess they're all kind of studs, aren't they? But the The Thor one. That's Chris, right? Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Fat Cat says Charlie Kirk's dad no longer exists on WikiLeaks. Okay. I don't know about that. That's interesting. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get into the first topic, or it's actually second topic, because the war was the first topic. That's typically usually our foreign policy one section, though. I guess kind of as a segue from one to the other, let's watch this big ghoul, this big fat fucking ghoul, say some crazy shit about Gaza, and then we'll get into making fun of a little ghoul goblin. After this will be the whole segment making fun of Josh Hammer, because fuck him.
That war in Gaza would be over in less than a month if the Israelis used the firepower they had in Gaza. But it doesn't matter. We still have news sites, including Israeli news sites, American news sites, who continue to talk about the casualty numbers that are fed to them from Hamas. No matter how many experts from the Wharton School and others say it's not possible what they're talking about, the death of children and the death of women, it doesn't matter. They keep pushing it because they push an agenda. It doesn't matter that the New York Times used phony photos on the front page of its newspaper. You know, during the Holocaust, we had black and white films, largely thanks to Eisenhower, who said, I want you to get your TV crews in there, and I want these so people see what happened. We have film after film after film. People can see it online. You don't have that in Gaza. Instead, you have phony pictures. Instead, you have propaganda coming from Hamas that uses its hospitals, its mosques, that slaughters its own people.
Okay. All right. I couldn't hold back my little laughter. That is quite rich. That's quite a rich one there. Yeah. He literally it's like it even says here, it's not possible Israel killed so many women and children in Gaza. During the Holocaust, we had film after film. You don't have that in Gaza. What an insane world. What an insane, this bizarre world. We've had nothing but film over and over and over and over and over again. And then there's the obvious. It's like I almost don't even feel like saying it, because it's like, it's almost like tired and not even really funny as much anymore. It's still a little funny. But the whole Holocaust denial or whatever, like, you know, the 6 million, like really? Oh, we sure it was 6 million one? Like, okay. And I've definitely delved down that road. I've gone down the Holocaust denialism. I don't give a fuck. Now when I say that, I actually, I've never really particularly overly academically delved into it. So if you want my actual academic opinions on I generally think the Germans, or Hitler probably did execute some sort of mass murder. I know sometimes it gets explained away by people who, as if it was okay, but it's more like a wartime conditions thing, typhus, other such things. The Allied nations essentially embargoing the area, essentially creating it so they were conditions in which people were starving. And then obviously if you have as we see in Gaza, when you have a captive people, and if you add to it now the people, the captors are also being starved out by the rest of the world, then, well, they're going to prioritize their soldiers, their people. Now, am I saying no one was murdered? Were there not gas chambers? I don't fucking know. I'm just saying I'm open to the idea that it wasn't quite 6 million. Maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't fucking know. I don't particularly. I mean, I guess I have to say I don't care. I mean, I guess I kind of don't. It's a long time ago. It's what's done is done. I think a substantial amount of people probably fucking died, and it was awful. And even if you do take the perspective that it wasn't necessarily overt, active, gas chamber, whatever the fuck. It was just wartime conditions and a captive people, and they didn't have the resources to care for them. Well, that's still murder. So, it's obviously not good. But, if, from a just goofing around, yeah, I played around with a lot, whatever. I just don't give a shit. It's kind of the idea of, why do I need to act like this some holy sacred cow? Suck my dick. I just don't give a shit. It's a historical event, and the idea that we should treat it any differently than we talk about the Holodomor or something is fucking ridiculous. If you are going to come at me with this, oh, well, we had film after film, are you? oh, I'm about to start pulling out the deep lore on your ass. I don't even know if it's true or not. This is like kind of, I guess, the equivalent of like of when people like go after like what is it called, the one Jew book or whatever, and you're like, oh, it says this, and you're like, I don't even know if it says that, but I've seen enough where it's like it's questionable, and like I also it's like in the same vein of like, why should I get? I'm not here to defend the Israel's fucking holy books. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, so the idea like, oh my God, how dare you? It's the same idea as if like someone came to me making fun of Mormonism, and like I'm not gonna like clutch my pearls and be like, oh, you think that Joseph Smith did this or that they think that? Even if it's not true, I might be like, that's not true. But I'm not gonna be like, you should be destroyed. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. And then I guess one last segue into our actual topic, making fun of it. I guess this kind of goes. I watched about maybe a minute of this, and I thought it was a pretty goddamn good little monologue from Fuentes. And I figured you guys might enjoy as well. And it kind of, I think it ties together the overall topic of the theme here of this one. So let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll get on with it.
We were pushed here. The Jews pushed us to this. We were pushed here. The Jews pushed us to this point. I will echo what Charlie said. You have left us with no choice. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to Tucker. That is what happened to Candace. For what? For opposing genocide? For saying America first? For wanting to close the damn borders? They are hateful. They are intolerant. They are the unreasonable ones. They are obsessed and preoccupied with Israel. And as Charlie Kirk said, you have forced our hand. As Charlie said, our patience has its limits. So your museums, your victim narrative, your oy veys, you can shove them up your ass. And we're looking at people like Josh Hammer and Mark Levin, and we're saying, listen, motherfucker, this is America. We're looking at Josh Hammer, this ugly fucking goblin, and we're grabbing him by his lapel, this tiny little goblin, and saying, listen, motherfucker, you can go back to Israel. It's America first, bitch. We're grabbing Mark Levin and saying, you had a good run here. You had a good thing going. Get with America or get the fuck out of our country. That's everybody now. We see the best in everybody. We are altruistic to a detriment, to a fault. Who cared more about the Holocaust than whites? Meanwhile, they were importing Muslims, and meanwhile, they were facilitating the browning of America, growing the progressive left, a civil rights movement, all this kind of stuff. And now they want to say the whole world is against us. We just can't catch a break. Fuck you. You know, and I see Josh Hammer and Mark Levin, like Laura Loomer. These are the people you got to think of. Who is the unreasonable one? Who is the intolerant one? Who is the odious one between the two? Is it me? Is it Tucker? I'll tell you one thing, the physiognomy doesn't lie. Who is wicked? Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, who I think are pretty honest, reasonable. I think the love of God, the love of Christ in particular, shines through. Maybe not in this exact moment because I'm worked up. Or Mark Levin and Josh Hammer that go in their goblin voice. You know, these Europeans, they're anti-Semitic. They're inherently anti-Semitic. It's in their DNA. They're filth. They're utter filth, and they're trash. They're trash.
All right, well, that was a fun little monologue. But let's go ahead and get into it. I know we talked a lot yesterday about the tweets, the Josh Hammer tweets, and then also kind of timing somewhat of all the things he was saying and all the things going on, because he was pretty damn stumping for the idea that that Kirk was he was pretty resolutely pro-Israel, despite the fact we had just recently that group chat stuff drop. I put out a tweet. I found out, I watched Candace last night, so I actually didn't, so we have a few Candace clips to go through. She dropped some stuff. But she did drop in there that there was another tweet that I missed. Apparently, he's also been kind of grifting off this, I guess you could say. Not that there's ever anything wrong with plugging stuff. Just a little casual reminder right here up above. That is my QR code for my Patreon. Patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. That's where you get early access to my content. I usually about 1 to 2 paywalled episodes a week. Usually keep about 4 behind the paywall any given time. Also ad-free RSS feed. You get access to Telegram. You get access to pre-show, post-show, video calls on Already Dead. Just fun time. You just can generally support the show. It's only low level, $2. So, I don't know, help support the show in the best way you can. Or just leave a like, hit that like button. There's nothing wrong with a little self-promotion. But it does get a little much, a little gross, a little weird sometimes at certain times. But let's look at on 10 September, so the day that Charlie Kirk died. This is the tweet, and bear in mind, we know what we know now. We know that he knew 48 hours prior, this guy was all about, or that he was saying that like I have no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause, like. And here he is saying, here's Josh Hammer, the day of his death. This is what he has to say. I am speechless, devastated, and heartbroken. We spoke less than 24 hours ago. Charlie joked how he was going to plug my book on his very tour. He was a unique force, a generational leader. Pray for Charlie's beautiful wife and their young children. Rest in peace, warrior. Which... okay, perhaps maybe he did joke about the book, but all right, now we're at one book plug. And also I forget the name of the book. It's like Israel and Civilization or some bullshit. It's a book about Israel, unsurprisingly. And so this is a pro-Israel book, and so here he is saying, how he's going to plug his pro-Israel book, which I guess doesn't necessarily conflict with his previous what he was saying 48 hours prior. Bear in mind, too, which we'll come back to this, Josh Hammer and then the Rabbi Wolicki, I believe is his name, were also claimed to have a meeting, or struggle session, meeting with Charlie Kirk 24 hours before his death, 24 hours after the statement about how he's going to be forced to leave the pro-Israel cause. So I don't know, maybe they just, the rabbi and Josh just did a really good job of convincing Kirk otherwise, and he changed his mind, and now he's going to go plug his book all about. But okay, so here he is, right after his death. Oh man, I'm literally going last thing we talked about is how fucking sick my book was, and how he's gonna plug it a bunch on his big old tour. I commented, at this point, there's probably a full confession to Kirk's murder on page 1488 of his book. Unfortunately, no one will ever read it, so we'll never know. And then I said, just a casual reminder, no one actually gives a fuck what that gremlin has to say. And in any organic way, my show isn't even that big, I said. And then I shared the over and over again thing I've showed you guys about how if you look at these metrics, his metrics are fucking dog shit. And it's not even to be like my show's amazing. It's just more that holy fucking shit, I'm just some retard, and I almost 2x his fucking numbers on podcast probably. So, and this is the editor-in-chief of Newsweek, one of the people in the inner circle of Charlie Kirk. I think he was the editor of Daily Wire, and no one fucking cares about anything he has to say. And then on that organic note, I do have to say, I posted this thing almost 4 hours ago, and it got 5 likes, which I know, I guess maybe only 5 people like it, but there's been a lot of people saying, not just me, there's very clearly suppression going on X right now, extremely clearly. To be fair, I guess if I was trying to avoid it, I didn't do a good job. I'm referring to a charged topic. I mentioned Kirk, so these are all probably things that have already probably been deboosted in the algo, so... although I don't ever really follow the algo. I follow the people. I'm a man of the people. But yeah, here he is plugging his book, and then it continues. It goes on. Let's see. This is from Candace's show. You can even see this jump. So they're referring to that first plug, but let's see if he does it again.
And as you saw yesterday, Josh never forgets to plug his book. He never once forgot to plug his book. A few days after Charlie's death, he went on JTV which is on the Global Jewish Channel, to discuss that last call with Charlie further with a host named Ali. And here is what Josh says about his book.
We actually did speak for the last time less than 24 hours before the assassination happened. We had a Zoom call, a friend of mine, him, a couple of his producers. It was a small call. We were literally talking, above all, about the anti-Israel questions that he expected to receive on his campus tour. And we were kind of talking him through talking points and strategy and how to deal with these expected hostile questions. And you held on my book, Israel and Civilization, Ali.
Israel and Civilization. I think I was right.
What the last words I think Charlie spoke to me were, he literally said,
normally I wouldn't plug my enemy's things, but I actually kind of do. I wouldn't mind him actually making a few genuine sales aside from Bibi Netanyahu buying 3 million copies. But as I'm while I'm sort of joking, I also wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you read through that book and there is some coded message somewhere. Okay, I'm being a little bit ridiculous. I'm assuming you had to have started this book at least a year ago, so that would be kind of insane. But I don't know. It is kind of a funny concept. With as much as he's been plugging it, it's are you trying to tell us something? Especially where you already claiming, you seem to try to have told us something before. Which to that, real quick, to the reading his mind and what he really meant by those tweets that we talked about yesterday. Yeah, I guess we'll never know. I think technically the Irna chick I got stabbed, I did mention that yesterday, and I think theoretically, it was it was really viral that day. So I don't know. Just to that, I guess it could have been something else. It could have been the Irna thing. It did seem weird. The second one where you public execution. I mean, that was hours after Charlie died. So I don't know. Just bizarre, especially since he's supposedly someone in his inner circle. Although I guess you could refer to it as it could have been a callback to his tweet from the day before. And the tweet from the day before could have been referring to the Irna incident, because he had that tweet on the September 9th, I think. Yeah, a tweet on September 9th that said just based, and it quote tweeted a tweet from Trump from 2013 referring to the Boston bombers, calling for public execution of one of them, one of the Tsarnaev brothers. And then he quote tweeted that said based. And so that could have been referring to the Irna thing, because the Irna footage had just dropped. She did technically get publicly executed, and he's calling for public execution, so he could have been referring to that. And then if you tie that into the following day when he just tweeted nothing but public execution hours after Charlie's death, I was thinking about this, you could connect the two. And what he's saying is you could theoretically perceive that in his head as some sort of callback to his previous tweet, but not in an ominous way. You could have seen that in a way of especially, which I guess you could get schizo about this, especially if you're leaning into, if you're someone who's immediately assuming a leftist, motive. So maybe in his head he was assuming a leftist motive, and he was roughly grouping these things together, and so he's grouping the killer of Kirk in with the killer of Irna, and so he's saying public execution, essentially saying here's another public execution, maybe a vague reference, kind of maybe this is someone who should get public executed, whoever it is. But that's overly reading into it, especially when you're this guy deserves no good faith understanding of the situation. It's I have to bend myself over backwards to try to understand it of yo, dude, I think this dude just told us they're about to murder some dude. But I don't know, maybe not. I mean, I kind of trying to run it through my head of ways I could understand it, and then I still just kind of come back to dude, I think it's fucking dudes over at Z-Town were yo, dude, we're killing him, and he's like, I'm so excited, and he had to do a little sneaky sneak, and he just couldn't help it. He knew some little sauce, and this is the kind of guy that is the kind of disgusting person that would get off on that sort of thing. As we keep going back to the metrics thing, look, he has made his whole career out of this. Out of being a scumbag. That is what he is at his core. A fucking scumbag. I don't know, let's keep going. Because I just think that general, I don't know, how he's risen to power while actually having no real organic following or anything, I think that really speaks a lot to what he's about. I don't know. So I can totally see him, like, if he had gotten some sort of word or inclination or knew something, I genuinely think he's the type of little fucking imp, little fucking coward fucking faggot that does get off on these sort of things. Like, he gets off on, I genuinely think he's some sort of person who gets off on human suffering. So I just think he's a duplicitous, shitty person. I think it's really just that simple. So I think it's perfectly plausible he may have known something. And this is actually, while it seems bizarre to look at it and be like, I actually think if he knew something, judging by his character of what I've seen of him, that is 100% exactly what he would do. Because that is what gets his rocks off. That right there. I think. Let's finish this little clip.
Josh, when the Israel question comes up, I'm just going to plug your book, Israel and Civilization, because I think that what you read in the book basically is how I feel as well. And that ends up being the last time that we spoke.
So yeah, literally up to and including, like he's going to plug it, and that way we can just be like, oh, whenever we talk, this is how I feel. So now he has Charlie Kirk died before he went on his tour, and now this guy is post facto claiming that he was going to be plugging his book all about, and that this represented his belief system when it came to Israel. Okay, let's keep it going. You wouldn't believe it, but that wasn't the only time in that interview that he plugged the book again. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's check out the other plug. Of course, the audio went out. Man, I went through a long stretch with no audio problems. Was there any audio problem on that last clip I just played? Because I thought it worked well for the most of it. So let me know. Cool. Nobody complaining about that. So good. It didn't fuck up for the last one. Just this one. Cool. Give me a second. I'll bring up this. Here you go. Got it. Oh, you've literally, the moment I brought it up. God damn it, I hate StreamYard so fucking much. Okie dokie. All right, I think I got it. I think we got it. Oh, we're golden now. Let's do it. We're in business. Let's watch this other plug, this other shameless plug.
He's the author of this incredible book, which all of you need to order right now. Pause the video, order it, and then continue with the video, called Israel and Civilization, The Fate of the Jewish Nation and the Destiny of the West.
We actually did speak for the last time less than 24 hours before the assassination happened. We had a Zoom call, a friend of mine, him, a couple of his producers. It was a small call. We were literally talking above all about the anti-Israel questions that he expected to receive on this campus tour. And we were kind of talking him through talking points.
I actually think this might be the same clip, but fuck it. We'll go ahead and we'll roll it through again for extra effect.
And strategy and how to deal with these expected hostile questions. And you held on my book, Israel and Civilization, Ollie. The last words I think Charlie spoke to me were,
yeah, I think where I messed up is Chris Menahan here. I think paired the beginning of that with him showing the book and then also referring to a couple things before getting to it.
He literally said, Josh, when the Israel question comes up, I'm just going to plug your book, Israel and Civilization, because I think that what you read in the book basically is how I feel as well. And that ends up being the last time that we spoke. It's an irreplaceable void. I'm not entirely sure exactly how we go forward, but I know that if Charlie were here, Ollie, what he would want us to do is to try our best to do exactly that, to move forward the hardest, the most determined, the best we possibly can.
Absolutely.
All right, and let's here is, and then kind of more to the point of what a piece of fucking shit this guy is. Here's John Miller, which I don't know particularly much about this guy. Seen about, got 130,000 followers, gamer, John's apartment, federal journalist, Catholic, moderate, fair and balanced, political commentator, provider of parody. I don't really know who these guys. I've seen him about and about. I don't know. I've seen takes I've liked, takes I've disliked. So don't really have any much conception of this, but here he is sharing a DM from Hammer from, I don't know what this is on, what platform, but this is, and I will say I've heard many other tales just like this one. So this isn't even the only one, but I think just to kind of get at kind of the sort of person we're dealing with Josh Hammer, here is what he sent to this Miller guy. So he sent him a direct message, and then look at that awful fucking face. It says, "Hey man, hope you're doing well. Someone pretty close to me who is Jewish and a Blaze subscriber sent me a link to your show on Thursday, where Gavin, I'm assuming he probably means McGinnis, as guest, says some pretty inflammatory things, even if jokingly," which keep in mind, he's an offensive comedian. He says lots of crazy shit. about COVID in New Rochelle, New York, possibly being a quote-unquote Jewish disease to target minorities, etc. Apparently, she's gone a number of fellow Blaze subscriber friends to all email in about it. Totally up to you. Oh my God, I didn't catch that part. I only read like the first half of this before. So, okay, just a recap. This is a DM he's sending to this Miller guy who had Gavin McGinnis, I would assume. I don't know for sure McGinnis, but Gavin, on his show. And he made some sort of jokes about, I guess, being a Jewish disease. And even the way that Josh presents this is how, the way I found out about this is one of my friends who happens to be Jewish and also a Blaze subscriber, which I'm going to go ahead and assume that this guy, John Miller, probably worked for Blaze, either currently or at the time, or at least at the time, because that would make the most sense to me contextually, personally. I mean, obviously, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I don't really know why you would otherwise bring up Blaze subscriber. So we have someone who is Jewish. So Josh Hammer reaching out, going, "Hey man, just kind of friendly little chat here. Just wanted to let you know, someone just out of the blue reached out to me. Just happened to be a Jew, Blaze subscriber. You know, the place you work at. So here's some sort of, allusion to an economic incentive." Where Gavin, and then he goes, and then not only that, but apparently this lady has also got a bunch of other Blaze subscriber friends to email about it. So now here's this supposed email campaign that this guy is hearing about, which obviously he doesn't know whether it's true or anything. Oh, there's this email campaign. Okay, all right, so that's where we're at. It says totally up to you. And I hope I'm not overstepping, but maybe worth just clarifying that you obviously don't endorse that. I've been in that same position too. I totally get it. Guests on the other end of the phone, so Skype says something crazy, silly, natural to respond with nervous laughter, etc. Again, totally up to you, obviously, just putting on your radar. Keep up the good work. Suck a dick, faggot. What a dork. What a fucking dork. And I will say, though, this isn't the only such example of this I've heard of with Josh Hammer. I know Cassandra McDonald references multiple times that he was going around trying to get her canceled. I have no idea if he had anything to do with it, but I do find it curious that she doesn't work there anymore. Considering as Cassandra McDonald was pretty renowned for railing hard as fuck in the paint against Israel. And was working for Tim through a lot of it and it was kind of a pretty common point that came up a lot of times. She was also booking lots of anti-Zionist guests. Yours truly. Not that I ever really was any shifting. I was pretty early. I mean, not that I just want to be clear. I'm not at all trying to say I was on there to I don't know, be some sort of anti-Zion. I wasn't even, if anything, I was actually a pretty young influencer. So it's not even I'm still pretty young, but my point being is it's not like I'm. How am I trying to just make it not sound like I wasn't being put in there, like Coach put me in to be like, oh, go fucking crush the Zionists. That wasn't even really the 2 times I went there. That wasn't even really I think as big of a thing at that time. So, but just point being, as a sort of guest she was bringing on. I just want to make sure. Some people could probably take that perspective from what I just said. So. But continuing down this line of thought, here's Rabbi Wolicki. I referenced this clip the other day, but let's play this again. Actually, there's a couple clips. I think I referenced the clip the other day where he was talking about how a lot of times this was in response to Zionists who were mad at Kirk and saying don't jump off the train yet. I don't think you guys realize how often is he's saying shit he doesn't even want to say, so you don't want to push him away. He's already, it's such a task essentially to even get him this position. And there was another clip where he was kind of just referring to the meeting and the tone of it and how it was combative and the way he framed it and kind of almost it was like a devil's advocate type of meeting. I'm not entirely sure which one this clip is, but at the very least I think it's just a reference to the timeline again and just a refresh your memory and the sort of characters 24 hours prior that Charlie Kirk was spending his afternoon with, probably roughly around the same time that Josh Hammer put out his weird cryptic tweet. Roughly around that same time, they met with Charlie Kirk, and these are the people who met with him. And then 24 hours before that, we had that group chat that's where he says, "Oh, I'm going to have to leave the pro-Israel cause." But 24 hours after that, we have Wolicki here. And fucking Josh Hammer somehow got him back on the straight and narrow. So we're supposed to believe this. So just a kind of rehash, go over this. Let's see what Wolicki has to say if it's believable. Let's see.
As he was preparing for his campus tour, he decided that he wanted to have a meeting. Josh Hammer was on the call, you know Josh. And I was on the call, and a couple of Charlie's staff, to talk through Israel issues. He was really grappling with these issues. I know that he's also having meaningful conversations with people who are anti-Israel, and that's fine, and he's going to do that. And that's all part of who Charlie is. He's going to expose himself to everything.
I remember right after October 7th, I was a little concerned about some of the things he was saying afterwards, and I wasn't so emotional. I realized Charlie was looking at a lot of the Israel-America stuff through the America First lens. I was looking at it through my family's in Israel. My son's joining the IDF. I was looking at it through that lens, and I was very
just
emotional.
your Jewish national identity.
Right. The fact that he was meeting with you to refine his talking points, I assumed there was a lot of pushback.
When that reporter asked me what the mood of the meeting was, and I said it was combative. He was really grappling with these issues. He was getting pulled in different directions, and I understand that. There's also within him a very faithful Bible-believing evangelical Christian. If that wasn't there anchoring him with a positive orientation towards Israel, he undoubtedly would have been much further along into the anti-Israel camp, with whom he shared a lot of opinions, and that's where he annoyed people in the Jewish community with some of the criticisms he had for Israel.
All right, I think that's probably enough shitting on this group, but just to kind of remind you of what the vibe was during that period of time, combative, kind of devil's advocate type thing. That is the way it's being framed by Wolicki, which, to his credit, seems a little bit more of an accurate representation than what Hammer seemingly seeing it. Now, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, just kind of how these people are framing it. Well, the only real framing of this conversation that I've seen from the Zionists coming out to try to control it has been pretty pathetic. It's been the, oh, how dare Candace share private text messages, which I'm pretty sure we did talk about this. Well, I mean, I do find it pretty funny. This seemed to backfire in a pretty grand way, this whole, oh, how dare. Well, fuck you. This is going to be probably, I think, for many people, the new normal. While I am not in any ways running into this saying that Candace is our Khaleesi, our black queen savior, but at the same time, I don't know, this thing she's getting kind of, how do I put this? Essentially setting up, I guess you could say, the proto network of essentially, I don't know, dead man switches of sorts. Because essentially my point where I'm connecting these two is there seemed to be this like cultural pushback of like, how dare you share this? Because let's be real, there is when it comes to sharing DMs, it is a dicey thing. I've been in situations before where like, do you share DMs? Do you not? And I generally tend to lean towards it. I think it's gross. Now, it's contextual. If someone else is if I'm in some sort of battle or whatever the hell you want to call it, and someone is dropping, DMs of, screenshots of DMs, and then okay, you fucking, if you're dropping DMs, I'll drop DMs, but I'm almost never really the one to do it ahead of time. I mean, it'd have to be the only way I could really think of is that maybe somebody called me out and said I lied about something very, very specific, and then I could be like, well, I can prove it otherwise, and then I would share the DM of from between us and them or something. Point being is, it is there is an expectation of privacy when you are, privately messaging. So I do understand somewhat that line of argumentation of oh my God, how dare you? What a shitty friend. But if you're fucking got murdered and we're trying to figure out who murdered you, well, it's a little bit different story now, isn't it? Obviously, now if she had been sharing some, here's this crazy, salacious implication that I was cheating on my wife or this or that or something, then yeah, obviously, what the fuck are you doing, Candace? Maybe don't be sharing that around. That's insane. But if it is germane to the subject of his death, then yeah, I think it matters. And as I said, it kind of seemingly backfired. Here is where she's at now.
I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell over the past couple of years. People that are trying to bankrupt me, trying to bankrupt me and my family, that are threatening us, to sue us. Everything that Kanye said was so real, okay? I'm now at that point where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something. about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you believe. Fight fair. Why do you always have to make this threat to bankrupt people? And I want you to know that those people, if anything happens to me, they have my explicit permission to release it all, detonate it all, expose all of these people in politics and in the movement who behave like this behind the scenes. It's necessary. And I highly recommend every single person that is out there, that has a platform and is going through things and is scared, do the same. Send everything around to about 8 people that you trust. And I mean, I've ranged it. I sent it to journalists, text messages and screenshots to people ranging from Max Blumenthal to Andrew Tate. They won't know where it's coming from.
All right, and I think that's a good thing. I hope they start to normalize it. Also normalize it. I also do think somewhat that I'm interested in this Candace phenomenon, and that is somewhat more normalizing the idea of a more, more organized while still being decentralized investigations. And whereas before, in the past, it has kind of been mostly just us online sleuths kind of poking around. Whereas, don't get me wrong, I'm very skeptical of these people who jump into this sometimes. But hey, at the same time, it's like I do think this is kind of unique in the way this is played out, and I think it could be a positive for the future. And then kind of more on this vein, here's another clip from Candace kind of getting at essentially making claims that there were, which I hope she comes out more on this. Maybe she's sitting on more. She always obviously shown she's patient and willing to sit on some stuff. But she was claiming that her and Tucker and others were receiving calls to lay low right around the time Charlie died. So let's play this. Oh, of course, StreamYard shit the bed. Give me a second. Give me a moment. Sorry. 1 second. Here we go. And we're golden.
I do not accept, and neither do you guys, that Charlie Kirk lost his life because he really pissed off the trans lobby. It terrifies me to think that on the day that Charlie died, I got multiple phone calls from people who said that me and Tucker should lay low because we're also on the list. And they never told us who specifically told them that, by the way. Now I'm wondering why they never told us who specifically told them that. I called Tucker. I'm like, are you hearing the same thing I'm hearing? They're saying that we're next. And now I go, was that supposed to be a threat to me and Tucker? To have us watch the public execution of a friend of ours and then to call us and to say, you should lay low for a little bit because you guys, we're hearing that you guys are on a list. Was that just supposed to be a threat? Because why wouldn't you be more forthcoming with exactly who you heard that from? And I remember saying, I was like, did the feds say this? Who said this specifically? Because why aren't they calling me and Tucker? Why am I calling Tucker and telling him about this? And I did. He will tell you that. The day that Charlie Kirk was shot, this really happened. And I'm coming out of the grief stage and realizing I think that was an element of this. To send a signal, to shoot him in the throat, right? To say, we took out his voice and we will take yours out too. And that's terrifying and that's real. And these people that we are fighting are dangerous, okay? Do not underestimate them. They are dangerous and they are haughty and they are growing increasingly desperate and panicked. People that are evil in this way are not people that you want to play with, right? People are nervous. Everyone is feeling it. And that's why I decided that I don't know what's going to happen, okay? I don't know how many days I have on this planet. I do know what I'm fighting for, and I do know that this life is not it. It's not. I'm telling you guys, it's not. The people that want you to believe that it is, people that pulled you away from your faith in the first place, as I'm trying to demonstrate to you, did it because they knew they could further enslave you. They want you to be fearful of death. They want you to think it's it. They want you to think it's lights out, and then everything is over, and that you are not a soul, right? Because then they can get you to do things to guard what you have in this world. Follow their rules, to do things that you know are wrong because you need the money. It indoctrinates you into their matrix.
All right, interesting stuff. Maybe she's being a little bit dramatic, but deriving at some interesting questions. And I I think Matt Gaetz asked the right questions here. Here's another little clip of him from over at Tim Fool's house. Let's watch this, and particularly in light of kind of the whodunit, I think this is particularly interesting.
Idea that like the Israelis had something to do with his murder.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm
not saying that you are, but there's a lot of people that are saying that on the internet, and
I think they're
that's
failed
ridiculous.
PR.
Why do you think it's
major
ridiculous?
facet.
What's your basis to disprove that?
Well, I think that. Well, I mean, Tyler's dad turned him in. The kid's dad turned him in. Like the gun was his father's. If there's new information or information that I don't have, and I'm
not suggesting there's any evidence that Israel had any involvement, but I just think that to make any determinations about the evidence seems misguided. I wouldn't make any determination about anyone's culpability or not culpability until I know the full story. I do think it's interesting that Andrew Colvett, one of the people closest to Charlie Kirk in the world, felt like one of the things he needed to share with authorities in the moments after Charlie Kirk's death was this rather raucous exchange about money being withheld and Charlie saying he's leaving the pro-Israel.
Well, I mean, look.
So yeah, Matt Gaetz himself brings up, hey, even Andrew Colvett thought it was significant enough to forward this over to law enforcement, and even then, as Phil's trying to be like, oh, you got the this, the that, the like stupid, fucking low IQ, like rattle, like bullet point list of all the things he confessed like 4 fucking times or some shit, cause like this one cop said he confessed, and then there's this one like screen thingy I saw that said he confessed, and this other person said that he confessed, and this other person over here said they could. Like, did he say he confessed? Has he confessed to law enforcement yet? And even then, can we see the confession? Because he's been under suicide watch for a good while now, is my understanding. I don't know if he came out or what. So he's probably pretty fucked in the head right now. They're waking up every 30 minutes or something crazy. They bug you over there. So yeah, but he hasn't confessed. I know there's lots of weirdness with supposedly DNA. But it was like on the towel. I mean, there's just like this. I know there's currently this like slop that's going about where a few of these larger people, which we'll get into a little bit of discussion of that in a second, share out this like bullet point list of stuff, and that's what Phil was talking about. But then Gaetz is kind of like, he's the other perspective, like, hey, like, what do you mean, like this idea? Like, he's not asserting at all here that Israel's doing it, but it's kind of crazy how he's like, dude, we don't fucking know. And then he even kind of points like, hey. And Colvett thought it was significant enough. So I just find it wild that here we have Gaetz at this position. And then on the one of those who are saying otherwise, here's Jack Posobiec. Here's our producer friend, old Jacob Rise of Liberty, saying Jack glows. And he's sharing from Murray, says, you need to ask yourself, why is Jack Posobiec repeatedly and relentlessly pushing the corrupt FBI's laughable narrative while completely ignoring the right to due process and presumption of innocence for Tyler Robinson? Does this look organic to you? And here is, probably it's been like, here is from, what was this, probably yesterday or something. 2 days ago, here's a post from Jack saying, I saw leftist murder Charlie Kirk and I saw him celebrate it. Then 27 September, I saw leftist murder Charlie Kirk and I saw him celebrate it. 23 September, I saw leftist murder Charlie Kirk and I saw him celebrate it. And 17 September, I saw leftist murder Charlie Kirk and I saw him celebrate it. No, you didn't. No, you did not. But I mean, this is a little bit freaky. Now here's them talking about how they're going to handle Antifa now, which I don't know. I don't like this. Let's listen.
We're not going to stop at just arresting the violent criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels, we're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa. Destroy the entire organization from top to bottom. We're going to take them apart. Thanks to your bold leadership and the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is exactly what they are, Americans will no longer tolerate their unhinged violence. We're not going to stop at just arresting the violent criminals.
There you heard it right there. We're going to, just like we did with the cartels, we're going to take the same approach. Well, we talked about our foreign policy portion. How are they handling cartels? They're fucking blowing them up. Well, Antifa's in the United States. I don't really think I particularly care for where this is going. a little bit freaky, and more on our Poso, kind of in this thread of thoughts here. Listen to this.
Murder Charlie Kirk, and we saw thousands upon thousands of people, other far leftists and people in positions of authority, people like nurses and pilots and doctors and HR departments, celebrating the death and the murder of Charlie Kirk. This sickness that's out there is absolutely real. And Mr. President, thank you for mentioning the fact that one of the bullet casings read, "Hey fascist, catch" on it. One of the other bullet casings right next to that had Bella Ciao written on it. Now, Bella Ciao is a song that is known in Antifa circles as the international anthem of Antifa. And all of us around the world, around this room that have studied Antifa, we're very familiar with these symbols. And Mr. President, I think the situation is getting worse. When you look at people like Luigi Maggioni, in his 20s, Thomas Matthew Crooks, of course, who took a shot at you, sir, the ICE shooter in Dallas, and now this Tyler Robinson, we're starting to see a pattern of more and more murderous violence. And this same violence is not just random. It is targeted assassinations, which are getting worse. And every single one of us in this room that goes out there, and obviously you as well, sir, and all the staff, we are now under that threat every single day. And working there at Turning Point USA, and I've spent just about the last month out there in Phoenix with Erica, with the family, with the team. And I will tell you this, Mr. President, even though going through something like that, which is an absolute nightmare, and people say, you know, what was it like to speak in front of all those people? It was horrible. Every second of it was horrible. But we're not going to quit. And Turning Point USA is continuing the tour that Charlie...
Okay, so whatever. Here's just him kind of leaning hard into this. All I can say, looks a little fishy. I think it's a little ridiculous how cocksure all these people are. And also, I don't know, the cast of characters getting sucked into this whole whatever Antifa nonsense, which, trust me, I don't fucking care for Antifa either. I'm suspicious. I don't know. Seems to be an extremely convenient narrative. And just like, I don't know, whenever the left is you know, hustling and bustling about these sort of things, and I would treat it with the same sort of skepticism when they're like, oh no, you hurt me, or this or that. You're like, it's getting a little, I see the actors that are seemingly getting mixed in this, and they're a lot of the slop vendors, and it leaves me a little suspicious. Poso being one of them, and he's a slop vendor with a particularly strong glow attached to him. One that people have been suspicious of for a while, and I really feel like this seems a little bit mask off for me, but maybe he's just retarded. Maybe he's just retarded. All right, let's, I don't know, I'll pop the chat real quick, see if there's anything there. I kind of been paying attention to the chat in these clips and kind of bringing up some of them. I do see, I guess so far as referring to things you guys saying in the chat. I know one of you guys want me to play Bobo's outro. Sorry, Bobo. You missed the cut. You're not going to be on the outro. Sorry. Sucks to suck. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, but I am not playing it because I looked at it just real quick while I was playing one of the clips. And it is it's a whole fucking song from a movie. It's from from Borat. So yeah, we have copyright things, so I can't play a whole song from a movie. So sorry, I would otherwise, but that will get the episode removed for sure. All right, let's get into the final topic for the day. It's a little bit of a grab bag of a few different things, some Epstein, some FBI, rooting out corruption, but I think there's a little bit of a tie that binds here, which makes it kind of one semi-cohesive segment. Let's start off. Here's a piece from Yahoo News about, actually it's from Fox News, I guess it's reposting it over at Yahoo. It says FBI fires agents, dismantles corruption squad after probe unveils monitoring of GOP senators. Patel says, let's play this real quick. The FBI has already terminated employees and abolished the CR-15 squad just one day after it was revealed that several Republicans' private communications and phone calls had been tracked. FBI Director Kash Patel on Tuesday announced the actions the Bureau had taken in response to the revelation of the baseless monitoring during the Biden administration and promised more actions to come. We're cleaning up a diseased temple 3 decades in the making, identifying the rot, and removing those who weaponize law enforcement for political reasons and those who do not meet the standards of this mission while restoring integrity to the FBI. I promised reform and I intend to deliver, Patel said in a statement to Fox News Digital. Patel also posted about on X saying, transparency is important and accountability is critical. We promise both, and this is what promises kept looks like. We terminated employees, we abolished the weaponized CR-15 squad, and we initiated an ongoing investigation with more accountability measures ahead. FBI Director or Deputy Director Dan Bongino replied to the post and echoes Patel's message, writing, "We promise you transparency and accountability. We will continue to deliver on those promises. You deserve better." The CR-15 squad was the FBI's Washington Field Office's public corruption unit. Which I will say on its face, not a great look to get rid of the corruption unit, but how often is it corruption units are just corrupt? So, I mean, I don't know. And I'm open to the FBI being corrupt, so all fairness here. The squad helped former special counsel Jack Smith investigate President Donald Trump. Okay, so these were clearly things created out of the whole 2016 Russia stuff, which cited sources familiar with the matter. On Monday, Fox News Digital learned that Smith allegedly tracked the private communications and phone calls of nearly a dozen Republican senators as part of his investigation into the Jan 6, 2021 Capitol riots. Trump reacted to the revelation of Tuesday and slammed Smith in a post on Truth Social that read, "Deranged Jack Smith got caught with his hand in the cookie bar, a real sleaze bag." A document revealed by Fox News on Monday revealed that Smith and his Arctic Frost team investigating Jan 6 were allegedly tracking the phone of GOP Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Probably found all sorts of fun stuff on that phone. Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Loomis of Wyoming, Bill Haggerty of Tennessee, Dan Sullivan of Alaska, Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, and GOP Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania. Document recently discovered by Patel and exclusively obtained by Fox is titled Cast Assistance and dated September 27, 2023. Cast refers to FBI Cellular Analysis Survey Team. The case ID is marked in the document as Arctic Frost Election Law Matters Sensitive Investigative Matter CAS. Additionally, it states the names of lawmakers and an FBI special agent on Smith's team conducted preliminary toll analysis on the toll records associated with the lawmakers. An FBI official told Fox News Digital that Smith and his team tracking the senators were able to see which phone numbers they called, the location the phone call originated, and the location where it was received. Probably lots of Israel area codes. A source said the calls were likely in reference to the vote to certify the 2020 election. Now, just going to let you know, it was actually Jesse Trent who passed this along to me, and here is over at LouRockwell.com. What is his thoughts on the FBI's seemingly newfound devotion to rooting out corruption, particularly corruption from the previous administration? Actually, not even the previous administration. It's actually from 2 administrations ago, the enemies of yesteryear, essentially. So, writes Jesse Trentadue, Patel's sudden crackdown on FBI agents who spied on Republicans is laughable. For decades, Grassley and the Judiciary Committee have known about PatCon but chose to ignore it. As a consequence, you have Arctic Frost, the Whitmer kidnapping plot, and Lord knows how many other similar events that were orchestrated by the DOJ/FBI. For many years, Grassley and the Judiciary Committee have known about the Bureau's sensitive informant program designed to place informants in the media on staffs of federal judges and members of Congress, the White House, and within other federal agencies, but ignored it. Now, however, when it is within the Republican senator's ox that is being gored, it is a very big deal. That is, I think he meant axe. But when it was the ordinary American who was being abused by DOJ/FBI, Grassley and other hypocrites in Congress did not give a damn. Now, on this idea of this administration doesn't give a damn, and that because of, or that one, or, the things of yesteryear, that actually is, in a certain weird inverse way, that has been the going, line of logic for their own corruption. And one example is another clip from Pam Bondi's time in Congress. This is actually the clip I meant to play for you guys yesterday, but let's go and watch this. Of course, one second, let me fix the clip. The audio's out. 1 second. And I think we're golden. Let's go.
Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that. Okay.
She looks like she's a kid pooping in the corner with that. Obviously, that was supposed to be like moral indignation, like, oh, how dare you? That's what that clearly was. Well, kind of shifting over to the Epstein, we've got some new interesting stuff. My homie Cole from my Tower Gang days, he's in Congress now, and he's fighting the good fight, going after Epstein. Here's what he said. Obviously, it's a joke. It's Eric Swalwell, but they do have an uncanny look between the two of them. He says dozens of Republicans may ultimately back legislation requiring the DOJ to release the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. It's coming to an end, guys. This is in quotes. I've spoken to a lot of House Republicans this week, and they have confided that Trump's movement/support is fading. As one told me, this Epstein bomb is about to drop, and no one wants to defend a pedo protector. It's just a matter of time. Said, and he also said, in quotes, one Republican just texted me that if there's a discharge vote on Epstein, they expect a jailbreak of over 100 members. Trump will go nuts. And this lady says, I've heard Trump accuse FBI Director Kash Patel of hiding documents and protecting Trump. He was straight with the questions and took no pushback from Patel. So when he says this Epstein bomb is about to drop, I know he's banking on evidence he's already flagged. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not as sure because referring back to the old Russia, Swalwell was a little bit more on the scummier side of things. So I don't know, maybe I'd have to go revisit history to get a more accurate, and maybe it's just my perception, but I remember him being one of the shitty ones. And then so she addresses it here. Amber speaks up this account. She says, yes, I know Swalwell's past includes controversy. He was under investigation over alleged ties to a Chinese operative, though ended with no action. But I'll take that over silence in cases involving child sex abuse and deep state cover-ups. And that's where I'm at, too. And then she says, in short, Swalwell hasn't jumped on this now for a feather in his cap. He's been gunning for these files and demanding accountability. And he's betting on GOP turning away because they can no longer defend the indefensible. Do you think he's right? She says. Now, I will say, paying attention to Swalwell, actually, surprisingly, has been fairly decent on this. He's been one of the ones who's had some of the more, like, substantive pushbacks. And, with this whole Epstein stuff. In the whole like Congress stuff, looking at clips, who's done better. He's been one of the better ones. And then kind of more to this, apparently there's Mike Johnson got into a heated face-to-face argument with Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego over the Epstein files. According to multiple reporters, Gallego accused Johnson of breaking the swearing in of Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, or blocking the Arizona Democrat who'd be the 218th signature, which we've talked about that plenty. So we know that. Now, the Gallego didn't hold back. Here's what he said. He accused Johnson of cover-up for pedophiles on the Epstein list, and number two, put his members in a really tough position when it comes to voting and extending these ACA tax credits. Then Johnson said it had nothing to do with Epstein. Gallego said, you don't want to be on the Epstein discharge. And so she's saying, let's be honest, this is about Epstein. Now let's watch a couple videos on where he's at on this, because I like watching him squirm. He's trying to play this weird game that it has nothing to do. This whole swearing in of Grijalva apparently has nothing to do with Epstein, which apparently he's even able to do it right now. Apparently they're allowed to do it in the government shutdown. I think maybe he just has more wiggle room to not do it because of the government shutdown. But let's play this clip.
There was a moment earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during the pro forma session. So why not swear in Arlene Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during the pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty. Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it. We're in pro forma session because there is nothing for the House to do. The House has done its job. People say, why don't you do more? Let's do more. Now you should do something. We already did something. It was passing a clean seal.
All right, and here's another interaction. This one's him getting grilled on News Nation. This one's a little bit longer.
On the Epstein files, there she is there speaking. Why won't you swear her in?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein. This is a scheduling matter. As soon as the Democrats vote to reopen the government, we will get back to the regular order and session of Congress, and that'll be, I'm sure, among our first orders of business is to administer the oath to the newly elected representative. This is just a matter of the schedule. In a pro forma session, no one's there in the chamber. It's literally sometimes 3 or 4 people. You have a clerk and whomever is serving as the interim speaker. They bang the gavel in, they say the pledge, and they bang the gavel out. That's it. It's just to keep Congress functioning. It's a tradition of the institution. But we'll do it right and do it in the right way as soon as everybody gets back here.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense until we look back and see that there have been Republicans sworn in during pro forma sessions. So why should it be different for a Democrat?
The great question. There was a unique exception made when the 2 Florida representatives were sworn in earlier this year after winning a special election. And the only reason we did that is because it was previously noticed for that date, and they flew all their families and friends in for the ceremony. So because they were here and the session.
So he's saying he'll make an exception if because the family is there, but we won't make an exception for literal raped children. Let's go.
Canceled. We just went ahead and did it because their families were here. That's the main purpose of it. But
so if she flies in her family, would you guys do it?
All of us, she'll get the full bells and whistles. It hasn't been scheduled because we don't schedule things for pro forma. No, but they're trying to make an issue out of nothing. I've looked forward to welcoming her. She's congratulated for having won her father's seat. He served a long time. She'll have a great career. Again, these are distractions. We have to get the government open so that we can get all these regular processes working again. That's all this is.
Oh my God, what a weak defense. What a weak defense. Literally his argument is like, oh, well, we've done it before, but like, that was because they had their family about, and that just would have been like an embarrassing, that would have been such an embarrassing faux pas. If we're like, oh, guys, we can't do it today because rules, but we're making an exception for you because we don't want you to put out your family. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're at the end. My wife's already looking at me like, are you done yet? So we're done. We're done. The lady won. But for those who want to support the show, if you want to help out what we're doing over here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. This show is on X, it's on Rumble, it's on YouTube, it's on pretty much anywhere you get podcasts at, you can find that at. So, I mean, all those things are, ways you can help boost the show, help the show grow. But if you want to help in the best way you really can, do that over at patreon.com. Just No Way Jose 2020. QR code's right up there. At the low level of $2, you get access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 episodes a week, typically. Usually keep about 4 behind the paywall at any given time. You also get access to ad-free RSS feed, access to the Telegram, access to the pre-show, post-show, and video calls from me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead. And the highest levels of my sponsors, I give them a big shout out every episode. It's a big thank you for everything they do. I have my previous co-hosts on Tower Gang at Lone Toad, also at Brigade D's, at ZOVRCK, at _Invisible, Tim Tuttle, at John Cleeble, Will Bells, Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus, lady or yellow polka dot dress, and then Mark Vestibule. And with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy this outro. Bobo, I know you did want me to play that one. I said you sent a shorter one, which I just wasn't able to get it set up in time. Maybe we'll play that for one of the future ones, because if it is shorter, you said you found a shorter one, so it should work. So I'll check that out. And maybe we'll play that for one of the future dumps. But I almost played this one the other day. This one's just a cute little AI slop video. So it's an AI kitty cat slop. But it's also weirdly racist. What makes it gives it a weird little turn. It's funny. But all right, guys, I think you'll like it. Like Bobo says, leave a comment as the stream ends. Hit the like button. Help a brother out. Help boost this show. Enjoy the outro. See you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. I don't think I have any other plans to do something otherwise. So I'll see you then. Love you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Where's the baby? Oh no.
Bye-bye.
What happened, my son?